Okay, hello everyone, this is OK here, and today we are going to be doing a player profile of one of the best Crazyhouse players, maybe a top 10 Crazyhouse player, and his name is TheFinnisher, as you can see here, TheFinnisher. And at the beginning of, I was planning on doing this stream at the beginning of August, but it was just before I left on holiday, so I never got round to it. But I prepared this study, and I haven't looked at it for a couple of months, so it's just going to be looking at it with fresh eyes now. And we're going to be looking at the games of TheFinnisher in the Elite Crazyhouse event at the beginning of August. So it's quite a lot of games in this study, 62 games. Some of them will be quite interesting, and some of them we'll see how he beats players of various strengths. I think it will be instructive to see how he beats players who are, say, under 2,000, and how he copes against the much stronger players. So without further ado, let us begin, because I think we can learn a lot by watching the games of a top player. Of course, we see this every in all the streams of Jan Lee. So if anyone is watching this and you haven't seen the streams of Jan Lee Crazyhouse, then do that. But one reason why I think this is instructive is because we're going to be doing this with the analysis board. So we're also, by doing this, we're also going to be seeing the mistakes he makes, as well as the mistakes that people make when playing him. And then also just, as well as noticing like the tactics which we might not notice in the game, and the kind of the moves that we don't notice that he finds, and maybe we can learn to play more like him, more like a player. And I think yes, I think that's, without further ado, let's begin. So he's black in game 1 against Wanyoni, who's about, as you can see here, 1800 player, 1859. And we're in a French defense. So often in the French defense, Nicholas Theiss always used to recommend taking the bishop out early to pin the knight to the queen, because it's kind of annoying, forces queen d7. So I'll leave those arrows here. But he gets his knight out early, and this is going to create a lot of pressure on d4. So an active knight. Okay. So he should be fairly happy with the opening. Now, in the French defense, you always have to be slightly worried about f6 and attack on the dark squares. But he's got quite good control. He's going to castle. At some point, he might even push f6. But we'll see what happens in the game. But for the moment, it's still fairly equal. This is not necessarily such a good move from white, because black is quite cramped. Exchanging off pieces only slightly improves black's position. So the analysis board says it's a tiny mistake, maybe casting is slightly better. But the reason it's a mistake is because black has quite a cramped position. So exchanging off pieces just gives ammunition for black and allows black to expand while sort of clearing away the kind of clogged pieces around the 7th rank. So it's just a tiny mistake, which I just noticed, and yeah, the Stockfish agreed. Bishop at g4. G7 is protected, so I don't know why Stockfish wants rook g8, but maybe that's why. But I don't. So just, I won't go through every game with such detail, but why not rook g8? Rook g8. Why wouldn't this just work again? Knight takes pawn. I guess there'd be pressure on g2, which is why that would be slightly better. But okay, so he did bishop g4, takes. So actually, Wanyoni's doing quite well in this position, because queen takes f6. Well, surprisingly, queen takes f6 is a mistake, and knight h5 is better. Okay, so his queen is almost trapped. It can only go to g6 or f5. So this is a rather uncomfortable position. But white is okay. Rook g1. Yeah. So. Well, knight e5 is not a very natural move. Why would it want? So queen f5 apparently is stronger than queen g6. So queen g6 apparently is a blunder, but the move that refutes queen g6 is knight e5. So why would that be? Why couldn't we then just move the queen, or even take his queen? Okay, so if we took his queen, he's got taking the queen with the queen at e7 checkmate, whereas we don't have queen at e2 checkmate. Oh, so hi there, IJH Chess and Antic in the Twitch chat. Yeah. So we're looking at the games of TheFinnisher from Finland, a top Crazyhouse player, one of the top 10 Crazyhouse players. And we're looking at the games in his victory in the Elite Crazyhouse Arena at the beginning of August, so some time back. But I meant to do this stream a long time ago, and I was going on holiday to Spain and never managed to get around to it. So this position is confusing. I can see why taking the queen takes. So whose move is it? So if you take the queen, white takes the queen with a mate threat. And that's quite scary. But I mean, I can't see. So if you just did a move like this, so I'm going to open up the engine. I see that white could just pick up that bishop, and so white king is very secure, but the black king isn't. If you did a move like taking the queen, knight takes queen, and okay, so you've got a mate threat here. So can you just? Oh, I see the bishop as well is also threatening the mate. So this is really uncomfortable. I don't know how to defend. Yeah, pawn at e7 is the only defense, but then you've got knight takes h8 and back rank issues. Okay, so Wanyoni in the very first game against TheFinnisher is doing pretty nicely here, because it turns out, well, where did this all go wrong? Basically, TheFinnisher should have double protection of g7 was necessary apparently to keep instead of bishop at g4. So if this takes, rook takes, I'm not going to be able to spend the same amount of time. Pawn at f6. Why is this not so bad for black? Then you see the point is, I guess, that which I mentioned earlier, is that black would have rook takes g2. Okay, sure, you lose your piece, but you have the beginnings of an attack on white. So what happened in the game is slightly different. Takes, and queen f5 apparently is necessary to avoid this very tricky move, knight. So yeah, that was really. I mean, that's a white to play and win position. So I'm gonna when I reach a position which is like very instructive, white to play, I'll just write a little note, white to play, because I might make this a puzzle in future. So white to play in this position, knight e5. That's a move. What happened in the game instead was, let's see, queen g6, rook g1, and now black is in the ascendancy again. Castles, white, and now what? Knight e5 apparently is still the computer move, but okay, h3 just plays a normal looking move. Takes. Obviously white would love to have a knight to put on e7. Queen takes c2, bishop at f6, knight f5, rook c1. Okay, so it seems like the black queen's got a little bit distracted from defending the king, and look at the array of white forces, the finisher's forces, around the black king. But queen g4 is a mistake. Okay, so I'm getting it all mixed up. So that pawn is crucial. There is a mate for. Why doesn't he just take it? Queen takes f2 is checkmate. Okay, but instead he's worried about defense. He does this and then does the checkmate a move later. Okay. So Antic says, "Do you want to do voice chat?" That is an interesting idea. And then IJHS says that Mark is playing Platy at 1+0. Okay, so let's see. Is Antic in the? Let me just make sure. Is this study public? I hope this study is public. So I'll just ask: is the study public? And if it is public, then I can do voice chat and get you in. Except I need to switch accounts. Okay, so I got a bit confused. I thought there that white was building up quite a lot of pressure in the end, but it's somehow the black attack is, white doesn't have any pieces and black's attack is somehow stronger. Okay, he missed the mate in one, but yeah. Let's see. Okay. So I'm going to open up. Discord. Okay, I'm going to share with you the Discord link, which is where we discuss variants, and we're going to see if people want to join actually on the voice chat, and hopefully that doesn't disrupt the screen quality, stream quality. Let's see. So where should I go? Okay, I'll go into Bughouse Team 1. No, actually I won't do that. I'll go into Streamer Box if I can find the Streamer Box. There is no Streamer Box. Oh, I'll just go into House Party channel then. Okay, so I'm on Discord. I've just shared the link if people want to join me in the chat. But and yeah, I've turned the chat room off, so I don't know if it's public. Okay, good. If I want to get you in on the study, I need to. Yeah. Well, for the moment, I'll just keep it as it is. It seems that the only person I added to the study so far is TheFinnisher himself. And it turned out after I'd made the study, I told TheFinnisher I'd made the study and if he was interested, and he was like, "I've already made a study of these 62 chapters of my games in that arena," because he's a very organized player, and every tournament he plays in, he creates a study of his games in that tournament. So that's a real dedication. So game 1, let's look at game 2, and hopefully we can. So game 2, TheFinnisher is black against Psychopath King. So again, we have another French defense, but this time an exchange French, and Psychopath King walks into a fork, and he just goes straight in on an attack, and this is going to end badly. So not much to say about this one, I don't think. And that's a nice checkmate. So just let's see. I mean, what can we learn from this game? So beware when you have pawns in hand. Beware of having two pieces which can be forked when your opponent has pawns in hand, because then already black is winning, and it's very difficult to come back from. And yeah, just take c6. And then the other thing is to notice that white just gives away a lot of material, exchanges a lot of material, which allows black to attack. And as we saw in game 1, sometimes it's a good idea not to, and I think this is a real mistake beginners make, is because this is Crazyhouse and the pieces you get in hand you can use on the board. I think beginners exchange too much. And sometimes you have to be a little bit more conservative and not exchange until your position is ready for it. In this position here, white really needs to consolidate, and all these exchanges are just yeah, he's just suffering as a result. Okay, so the lesson from that is don't exchange too much. Definitely. Only exchange when it suits your position. Especially the bishop for knight exchanges. That's a very common mistake. Can I add you to the study? Okay, I can. So what I need to do is I need to log out and log in again. And are you in voice chat? Yeah, Antic and Lazy are in voice chat. Cool. So I'm going to sign out and sign back in again. How come I can't hear you though? Oh, you're muted for now. Okay. Although if I sign back in again, I'm not sure if will Lichess still pick up that I'm streaming. I'm not sure. Hopefully they will. So this is my study account, Sarah Student. Do check it out and follow it if you want lots of Crazyhouse studies, because there are about 80 studies there. Yeah, cool. It still recognizes I'm streaming. That's nice. And now, how do I find it? I need to go to my profile. I should have copied the study link, actually. That would have been the simple way of doing it. So I'll just do that now. Copy. So you can see here all the studies on Sohan Student, and if you look at the ones which say 05 practice, these are ones I just created last week, and they're practice against the computer studies, based on real game positions from the Crazyhouse World Championship. So you can actually try your hand at these positions against the computer. So it's using the chess features of practice against the computer to do studies, to do puzzles. Sorry. Okay, so I'm just going to go back into the study and add in Antic, who's going to join me in the voice chat. So let's see. Antic. There we go. Oh, so I added Kyle as well, accidentally. Hi there, Antic. Okay. So we're going to now look at game 3. So you're still muted, by the way, in the house party. So in game 3, the finisher is white. Oh, hi there. Now, I should check in the chat. Can you hear Antic okay? Do you want to say hello, Antic?
No. Hello.
Yeah, hi. So now, guys in chat, hopefully you can hear Antic. This is Antic from Canada. Yeah, so we're going to see game 3 now, which was the finisher against Pizza in Winter. So yeah, feel free to give your commentary as well. So now we're in some mainline theory, for sure. H6. So bishop dropping back, and bishop g4. Stockfish prefers king h8. I've got no idea which. Knight d5. So putting lots of pressure on this pin. Knight takes d5. Bishop takes d8. And I thought knight takes d8 was... So Antic, you all know the theory in e4, e5 better than I do. Is knight takes d8 not the move in this position? Apparently, Stockfish says no.
I don't know theory, man.
Okay. So Stockfish is thinking rook takes d8 is best. I always thought knight takes d8.
I think it...
Yeah.
I thought it was rook... Yeah, rook take.
Rook takes, okay. So Peter in Winter... So Peter in Winter plays knight takes. And Stockfish is definitely calling that an error, going rook takes. But I just played a correspondence game the other day in which my opponent played this, which was certainly interesting. But it didn't really work because, I mean, if I just turned on, that's +8. I mean, I just managed to pick up quite a lot of pieces. But it was interesting. In fact, did it work? No, I think this one didn't work. It was an interesting idea, but it didn't really work. That was in a correspondence game against Ominous. Okay, so knight takes d8 is not ideal. You take the knight, and knight at f4. So again, it wants to double up pressure along this diagonal. But knight at f4. Okay, yeah, this is quite a neat idea. This knight g5 threatening mate in 1. And hi there, Kyle Legion and Deadband Chess and Lakin Weka in the Twitch chat. Yeah, this is a sort of rather cute idea, and the idea is if you take the knight. So I shouldn't be talking so much because you know more about this than I do. But I mean, this is threatening mate in 1 and gets your queen into the game, I guess. Knight takes d5. So again, threatening mate in 1 on h7. And I guess black just has no threats on the white king right now, which is the problem. And with that move, his position really is collapsing. Knight h5. So what's threatening knight takes bishop. So with that move, just trying to distract the bishop. And just queen invasion here. Threatening queen at g7. There's no stopping that. The queen just walks in. Okay, so that was a theoretical crush from the finisher in game 3. So I guess the lesson from that is if you play the finisher, you have to know your theory or you're going to get crushed from the opening. And Deadban Chess says this is not how black should play this line. Yeah, Deadban knows his theory. So well, we'll hopefully see in a rook takes d8 is apparently the first move. I don't know how it continues, but definitely that's something for players to look at. If they want to play mainline theory, they have to know how it goes. Okay, so we've got another e4, e5, so maybe there's a chance to see again how it should be played against National Master Mark the Spark, so a 2300 player. And he stops the bishop g5 idea with h6. Yeah. So the thing is, the pawn on h6 always creates a kind of hook on g5. So there's always it's always a pawn that you can somehow attack on g5 through h6. It kind of it gives a hook through which you can attack. IJ says, sorry, I have to go. Kyle Eaton says he has a line named after him. Yes. Yeah, the Deadban Gambit or something. Yeah, I don't know the details, but that's definitely something we can go into. I have it in another study, but I can't remember where. Yeah, so you have to always be careful.
Deadban likes to keep it secret.
Yeah, maybe it's a private study. No, but I mean it's not a secret gambit. But he beats a lot of players with it. h6. See, you always have to be careful with h6 because you could take that pawn, but also you can also attack through g5 and h6. It gives you a sort of a hook through which you can attack, even in normal chess. It's both sometimes an essential move and kind of gives you luft for your king, but also it's potentially a weakening. It weakens g6 and so on, and g6 especially in this position where the bishop, that pawn is pinned to the king and so on. But anyway, we'll see what happens here. He sacks on that pawn directly. And this is sound. It's a sound sacrifice. Okay, queen g6. So here, Stockfish recommends queen e7. So why would queen g6 be bad? You don't have a knight in hand. You can't. Anyway, this square is defended. So we'll see how he played. Knight h4. And this knight's defended anyway, I guess. Knight h4 defends g2 from any sacrifice in future as well. Queen g5, pawn at g7. So if the queen were on e7, would that be better in this scenario? I'm not sure. I'm not sure why. I guess yes, it would, because queen takes f7 is the threat in this position. And the computer's defense is block up this f-file with bishop at f4, but instead he defends with the rook, which looks as if it will be okay, but it's not, because, as we'll see, he's coming in. Just walks out the way, queen can take this, and there's nothing stopping queen at g6 mate or queen at g8 mate. You can't stop both threats at once, so it's going to be mate in one. And then no checks left, so it's mate in one for white. So 4th win in a row for the finisher.
White has like 10 mate in one threats there.
Right, exactly. Oh yeah, there's also rook at h8 as well. Yeah.
3, 4.
There's also knight
5.
Knight at f6. Oh yeah, mate. Yeah, I hadn't seen that one as well. There's also promotion to a queen, checkmate. That also works. Promote to a rook, checkmate. That also works.
I think there's 6 mate.
So this is a fun little puzzle. How many checkmates are there? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I count 6.
Yeah, 7 maybe?
Oh yeah, queen in the corner as well. So 7, yeah. Nice. Yeah, so 7 mates in one. That's a nice crush from the finisher. So let's look at game 5. So like I said, I think it's instructive looking at the games of one of the best players of Crazyhouse. He's not necessarily the best Crazyhouse player, but he's a top 10 player, and seeing how he beats players of various calibers. So now we're going to see how he plays against a chess blogger rated 1990. And chess bloggers using the wolf defense. E6, d6. And in the wolf defense, at some point you have to play e5. Ideally before white gets in e5, because otherwise things could get ugly. Yeah, I remember Jan talking about this just yesterday, even. This sort of, at some point, the bishop, something like either the bishop comes here or the pawn pushes here, and this knight is not so important. Sometimes you want to give that knight up for a pawn. You shouldn't hang on to it too tightly. But okay, this seems to be no mistakes yet. I mean, no serious errors yet. Bishop takes knight. Okay, so the knight is threatening g7. So Stockfish likes rook g8, but okay, bishop takes f5 doesn't seem like the end of the world. And then pawn at e6. This looks like the kind of mistake I make when you're trying to defend and you just give your opponent more pieces to attack with. And yeah, he's holding on to this knight. So Stockfish just likes castling, but I don't think there's, yeah, I don't see why it's a huge deal, but so we're trying to get in on e6. Comes in with the queen. So yeah, we've got a weakness on g7. We have f7. I mean, f7 and g7 are like the normally very weak squares in Crazyhouse. You have to be careful about, and in this position, well, yeah, I'm thinking why not just at e6 here? Let's see what's the computer say. At e6, indeed, at e6, and somehow that's white's not doing quite as well. I mean, he's still doing nicely, but so at g7 is a mistake. So let's see. Yeah, apparently there's just go in is is the recommendation from the computer. So if we just follow that line, king takes f7, how do we follow it? 2 pawns and a bishop. Well, I'll just look at what the computer says. Takes. Okay, the computer is just ruthless. So that's the kind of, yeah. So queen takes f7, just go in. But at g7 was played. Takes, and instead of, this pawn really needs to be used for defense. And I think a really good guide actually in Crazyhouse, if you've got 2 pawns, it's probably quite a good idea to save a pawn for attacking. But if you've got 2 pawns, maybe use the first one for defending and then the second one for attacking. It was sort of a rule of thumb guide. You always need to keep 1 pawn for attacking because pawns are the matches that start an attack. Okay, so at g2 is played. At f3, so black is very serious about attacking. And the finisher is playing it very safe, so he's targeting h7, trying to pick off the rook. He gets in on h7. Okay, so now at this point the game is it's looking very dangerous. Picks off the knight, picks off the pawn, checks he can pick off the knight. So he plays it very defensively. It doesn't go all in on attack. Just picking off all the pieces basically. Just make sure he's safe. Black has no pieces, so he can't even drop a pawn on g2. Check, and then he redefends on g2. So this is like really uber safe from the finisher. I mean, sorry if I'm talking too much, Antic. So always do feel free to butt in. The link to the study. Well, if you go on Lichess, you can, and you follow me, you'll be able to see it. But here it is. You'll be able to see what I'm looking at. Oh no, you won't, because I'm now looking from my other account. Interesting, yeah. So no, you won't be able to, because I switched account to my study account to look at it. So that's my bad. I've got chat off. So if there's interesting stuff in chat, I should just check. No, there's nothing. Okay, so I think that this game it's really showing how he maintains some sort of aggression while. So I think normally when I try and be very safe and um, I'm not very good at being safe while also maintaining aggression. Whereas here you can see the finisher maintained an aggressive position while also being very safe back at home. Look at how safe the white king is. Yeah, so just to repeat, this was the Elite Crazyhouse event at the beginning of August, which the finisher won. And so this is a player profile looking at the 62 games from that Elite arena. And that you could very well ask, why am I looking at this? Why am I not looking at some other player and some other arena? It's just something which I planned to do back in August, and I was going on holiday, and I'd actually looked through the games then, but so I've completely forgotten them now. But I never got around to doing it. So it was an elite arena, beginning of August, that the finisher won. Game 6. He's up against retarded platypus 123, so his toughest opponent yet. 24-69 from Canada, and we're down. Okay, bishop e7 instead of bishop f5. Yeah, very dangerous opponent. Retarded platypus, very good player, young Canadian. Antic, anything? So this is he's playing d3 rather than d4. Any comments? Are you still here?
My only comment is Platy is a great guy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Do feel free to, if you see things, to point them out. Because I always am afraid I'm talking too much and not giving you a chance to comment.
You're better at it than I am, so.
Well, you're better at the game than I am. So knight takes h7. So this is a mistake, according to Stockfish, but it's one of those things where I think it's giving up material so that Stockfish considers it a mistake, but it's the kind of thing against a human being. It does create potential, attacking potential. So it could be quite good for practical play. So we'll see.
It's a nice practical move.
Yeah. I think okay, so knight e6. So suddenly, after knight e6, Stockfish has just swung to saying this is like crushing. White is winning now, from saying that black had a slight edge. So it clearly got the job done. So this will probably be instructive for the finisher. Knight g4 is what. So let's try. I'll actually turn the engine on for this. So knight g4 is what it recommends. Just maybe, I guess it's guarding h6, having a look at h6. So it's a very natural move. Looking at bishop takes knight, e takes d4, knight d5 being a possible continuations. So black is under slight attack. So it's interesting how the computer is suggesting bishop d8. Just try and avoid exchanging material. Not even. I mean, bishop takes g5 just seems. Why would you go knight d5? What else could you do? See, in this sort of position, I'd do something stupid like h4, and that would be very weakening of the white position, and suddenly black is crashing. So I'd be worried about. I want to maintain this outpost on g4, but somehow that's not the way to approach this position. So knight b5. The problem is the bishop just takes g4. So what's the idea? Or yeah, knight here, bishop takes g4. So black seems to be doing okay here, and I guess the idea was knight takes c7. Okay, that was the point. It wasn't trying to avoid exchanging material; it was defending c7. Okay, I was being blind here. Oh, and then there's knight f3 even as a potential idea, even though that's protected. I guess because it's weakening h6. So I'm going down a crazy line, but just because knight takes f6, you're I don't see how this works, because f6 is so well guarded, but it must be something about h6. Now there's something wrong about this. This doesn't look right. I completely misread. Knight f3. Okay. but that's not even the best move. H3 is the best move. That knight's kind of trapped. So, yeah, this is a very confusing position, but black would have a slight edge. But I'll just turn the engine off and get back to the game. So what actually happened was knight e6, and now white is winning. Takes the knight, takes back, knight d5. Well, knight d5 is okay, but queen h5 is also very dangerous, apparently. King g8, and then knight d5. So if I just follow the line, queen g8, then knight d5, then, I mean, that's the kind of line that it's thinking about. But anyway, okay, so knight d5 comes in. So g6, just to protect, he's afraid of queen h5. So I'm just wondering, after queen h5, why is pawn at h6 a bad idea? Knight d5 comes in anyway. So bishop d8. I'm just still trying to see what's in it. Okay, so it is bishop takes h6 is on the cards, and we can't just take back because knight at f6. Okay, so that's what we're aiming for. This is why, in a way, why white is doing so nicely is, yeah, f6 is going to be a problem. So you'd have to step back to g8. Okay, but what happened in the game was also good. At g6. Takes. So targeting f6. Okay, exchange. Okay, bishop takes rook. So, yeah, the computer's suggesting here, I guess, to pick up a bishop and just maintain the pressure. Bishop takes rook, the queen takes back, and the queen is a good defender. But we'll see. So a lot of the pressure has just been slightly alleviated. And knight at g4, well, it seems like a reasonable move, but somehow black is defending. Somehow black is defending, but then played. So a key move here is bishop takes b2. Keep the bishop on the long diagonal, defending everything. So there's no like rook at. There's no sort of white can't take over control of the long diagonal. But with bishop at h5, now white takes control of the long diagonal, and I think white probably takes control of the game again here. So now bishop to f6. What's the threat here? Why can't we just take that? Okay, black did take it, so we're going to find out why you can't take it. You take his bishop. Okay. Okay, so again, in this position, it's recommending black takes on g7. But with this move, okay, so white could get a crushing advantage here with bishop at f8. The idea is just cutting off the control of the h8 square. So Antic says, did OK say this was elite? Some of these guys aren't 2200. Ah, you're right. So it can't have been the elite arena. Yes. So it must. So I'm completely wrong. It must have been the Shield back in August. Gosh, it was so long ago. I just can't remember now. Yeah, maybe it was the Shield. So it's three. So these are 3+2 games back in August. So bishop at f8 is a very nice move. In fact, if you actually look at the Stockfish, bishop at f8 is a nice idea. Rook at h6, and I'm thinking, why can't you just take that rook? Because then bishop at g5, okay, and then why can't I just take it? Because then we're taking the queen with check, and apparently we have enough to follow up that with mate. Wow, there's a key move here. This is very cunning. This is very cunning. So if it's white to play here and win, there's only one winning move, and this is a very beautiful idea. So although Stockfish is saying what the move is, and you've probably seen it, I'm still just going to just pause for like 10 seconds for you to think about it. Okay, I'm going to explain the idea here, because this is a very beautiful idea, and it's quite an advanced idea in Crazyhouse. We have a bishop and a queen, and the bishop and the queen can cover these dark squares. But the king can always take this pawn and run back to g8. So g8 is a safe square for the king. I don't see why. Let me see. I still don't see why we quite have enough, but Okay, I'll actually try and calculate. Okay, Ante, should we ever try and calculate this? If we just do this, what happens? Okay, rook takes, then what? Bishop here.
5.
Steps back. Queen f6.
h6. h6.
h6. Queen h6. It's key. And
now
then,
the king.
And now the king is trapped. Yeah.
Bishop at g5 right away. King takes g7. Queen at h6. King g8 is safe.
Yeah, exactly. If you put the bishop here, king takes, queen here, king g8 is safe.
But it's smothered mate in a way.
Yeah, exactly. It's a kind of smothered mate. So this is a really pretty idea. I'm getting feedback from you, Antic. Okay, so a really pretty idea. So promote to knight. If you don't take the knight, you're going to get mated. And yeah, this is really surprising. You've only got 2 diagonal pieces, but that's just enough to mate. So bishop here, the pawn cuts off the king from running this way. The bishop cuts off the king from running this way. King goes here, and queen at h6 is checkmate. So it's a very precise mating idea. I'm just going to because that's a really pretty thing. I'm just going to just go white to play in the comments. I don't know if I'll ever find it again, but just write it down anyway. That's a very nice little puzzle. So how did we get here? So rook at h6 apparently is a nice idea in this position, and the other winning idea which we saw was bishop at f8, cutting off the rook from h8. So both those are really nice mating ideas, but instead Platy went straight for the rook at h8, and suddenly actually Stockfish says black's doing okay now again. Queen defending everything. Bishop g5, bishop g7 seems reasonable, although Stockfish likes knight at h6 for some reason, but we can't go too deep into everything. And then black won on time. Whoa. So this is a 3+2 game, but I guess Platy just couldn't really work out how to break through these defenses, so that's why it was. It's a tough position. White's only move to really keep the attack going is rook at h4, and it's not really obvious how to break through. So rather unfortunate for Platy that game, and that might have been TheFinnisher's, was it 6th victory in a row? What if king e5, queen at e4? Oh, did I miss a variation? Okay, well, hopefully viewers who are sharper than me saw it at the time. Yeah, so anyone, Kyle, Deadban, if you want to join the voice chat, you're most welcome. So game 7 finishes up against tough opposition now in Fumitox, a fellow top 10 player. And he plays Krosky's Gambit, and Fumitox rejects the Gambit, leaving the knight hanging. Knight e2. So I'm guessing Even though I play this as black, I'm not sure which is better, knight e2 or knight f3, but okay. Castles. And normally, as black, I think I'd eventually move that knight to e4, but he's keeping that there for as long as possible. Although Stockfish slightly prefers bishop at e4 to bishop at g6, and that's just simply because then it's got a double threat. Although even better than castles, I think Stockfish quite likes knight g3, just hitting the loose bishop. The previous move, sorry, that was the previous move, knight g3. Okay, but castles doubles up the bishop along that diagonal. Rook b8. Okay. So I mean, those watching can see in the comments, Stockfish is making kind of all kinds of suggestions of that's a tiny error. Should have taken the knight, or shouldn't have gone rook b8. Should have withdrawn the bishop. I'm not going to go into all the details. I mean, it still looks perfectly reasonable. Okay, f4, knight to e4. Knight takes e4, bishop takes e4. So still the position, white's got a slight edge. Nothing substantial. Stockfish is being fussy about, one move might be slightly better than another, but this is all good. This is all solid. I mean,
Hey, Antic.
hi there, Kyle. Welcome. I should add you to the. In fact, you are already. I thought. Yeah, you are already. So I'm just going to add you as a contributor in case you ever want to move pieces. Is that okay? Is that okay, Kyle? Hi there, Kyle.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay. Okay, so in bishop takes a, so yeah, Stockfish doesn't like bishop takes a6. It really likes queen to g4. And bishop takes a6, the next move. So just controlling. But okay, bishop takes a6. I don't understand at all, actually. Yeah, okay, bishop takes a6. Knight takes e3. Well, maybe pawn, and again, it's suggesting pawn at f3. But I'm getting a bit of feedback from you, Carl. I'm really sorry. Knight at f5.
Wallet.
Bishop at f2. So, bishop f2, okay. Bishop f2, it says is a big blunder, and instead he should go queen at h5, queen to h5. I'm just feeling myself a bit out of depth, so maybe you guys should chip in. Like, why is queen h5 so much stronger than? Okay, so what is the idea of something like queen to h5? So this seems to be dropping the bishop. So what's going on here? So it's pawn at g6. So just going.
Holding my mouse now I can.
Yeah, so it's just a huge attack that I just didn't see, basically.
Probably winning.
Yeah, but so you give up a piece for just getting in on the light squares, and then you try and get a knight or a rook to finish off the attack. Yeah, okay. But he goes bishop f2 again. It's just a perfectly reasonable move, but Stockfish is fussy. Knight at d5, again, perfectly decent looking move, but sharper for black would have been apparently pawn at f3. And I guess the idea is if you take that pawn, then what? Taking back looks reasonable. You have a knight in hand. You could go, yeah. You have a threat of knight pawn checkmate in terms of a long-term threat, but yeah, if you take the pawn, queen takes. But it's suggesting something completely different. It's saying go for bishop takes f4. And I guess it's check and then check here and pick up if he takes back. So it's like a free pawn you've just picked up. So suppose he just covers up then what's the follow-up? Then I see e3 is hanging.
Take the bishop.
Yeah, the e3 is hanging. Okay, so
Probably.
Stockfish full of the sharp tactics. I mean, yes, I guess it's important to spot. f4 can be hit by a knight fork. So instead, bishop at f2, he just does something very opera-like, which is increases pressure on e3. Queen d2, and again, Stockfish is saying go on a counter-offensive with queen g4. But okay, again, this is so Stockfish is very complaining about both sides' play, even though they're playing a quality game. So it's quite interesting that. Takes speed. Pawn at g4. Yeah, so it wants pawn at c5, but okay. So you think attack? You're saying drop a knight, attack the rook? Is it another idea? Knight at c4 is another idea. You're saying? Yeah. Okay, so he does this. Takes. Bishop at c3, attacking the queen. Queen e2. Stockfish just wants you to take that bishop, but I don't see why. But okay, queen e2. We'll see why it's bad probably in what follows. Bishop takes d4.
Oh, you can win the queen.
You can win the queen. So why can't the queen take the bishop? Because then
Nothing.
Then drop another bishop here. Yeah,
Oh,
and that's what happens in the game. Okay, so white is losing the queen, and just to recap, white is Fumitox here against the finisher. So he's losing his queen. And that rook on the 7th rank, on the 2nd rank, as it were. It's now he does f3, and yeah, he's getting in on the 7th rank. Takes. I should turn the engine off. Don't need the engine. Well, I do, but I'm just we can do without. At f2, so we're going to see relentless attacking. So let's just see what the mating sequence. It saw rook at g1, takes, bishop here, and you've got your back rank covered. But what actually happened in the game was takes. Instead of dropping the rook at g1, he just took another pawn, just moving those pawns closer and closer to the king, and then he did this sequence, and the rook is coming in on the back rank. So he just took another pawn to cover g2 first before doing exactly the same idea. Okay, so the finisher is really in strong form here, winning the first 7 games, is it, of this shield? Now I've been told it's a shield, not an elite arena, so my memory had failed me.
Finisher was white that game.
Oh, finisher was white. Okay, so you got crushed by Fumitox. Yeah. Right, so I don't know why it's the wrong way around. Orientation black should have said orientation white. Good spot. Yeah, he got crushed by Fumitox. Why? Okay. Okay. So next game 8 against Ominous, whom I've been playing some correspondence to. And so yeah, to any viewers, if you're interested in Crazyhouse and you want to get into it, yeah, you're welcome to always challenge me, challenge OKEI to a correspondence game. I'm happy to play because I'm not. I'm sort of very busy in this stream playing, going through the study of these games. But if you want to play some Crazyhouse and on a sort of slower time control, then always feel free to challenge correspondence games. Okay, so this time the finisher is black against Ominous, whom, as I said, I've been playing some correspondence games with recently. He actually won the first 2, and then the third one I won, and then the fourth he had a slip, and so we're on game 5. So bishop d6. Yeah, so g2 is open, and at g2 is good, followed by rook e1, and then what? So just to see what could have happened. Just develop normally. Bishop b4 or knight bishop d6, knight d7, just normal moves to try and swap off pieces, eventually get a rook for h1, so black is in good shape. Okay, but instead he goes bishop d6, knight c3, and he exchanges off his bishop for that knight. So why is that so bad? Any thoughts why it's so bad? Is a bishop like a good defensive piece for white, maybe?
No idea.
Wants to take
I mean,
and sack, but I think he's gonna take with a queen.
I can understand why he did take, because usually when you're attacking, you want to exchange off pieces. But maybe a bishop is a valuable piece on f3, defending everything. So maybe that's why you shouldn't. But then a knight's a good attacking piece as well. So okay, so he's knight takes c3. So he's really exchanging off stuff, and Stockfish is really hating it. B takes c3. So Stockfish is really hating every move black plays in this situation. It wants black to castle. It wants black to take off this rook. Again, I'm not quite sure why. Pawn g2 looks very decent again, but again, Stockfish is saying no, take the rook. Again, I'm not sure why. Rook e1 apparently it doesn't like either. So it wants at e7, just go in straight for an attack. Ooh. Yeah, that is... He's only got one knight, so why can't we just move the queen out of the way? I mean, I'm just going to just... Does white have... So knight at c7 is basically... It is just knight at c7. King d7. There's not a direct mate, but yeah. So pawn at e7 was... So actually, hang on. So pawn at e7, if we just take the rook here, we don't have anything. I think that's the point.
Even to queen takes.
Yeah. And it says bishop takes is actually plus 18, which is incredible. And it really just wants to sack the queen on e7. It feels that badly about this pawn chain entering black's position. Okay. Knight at c7. King goes for a run. Again, it just wants to take the queen and probably get castled, I'm imagining. Check. Blocks. White takes the rook. And that's a mistake, apparently, from white. So, again, it wanted pawn at e7. So taking the rook actually hangs mate. So we're actually going to see it. Knight takes queen.
Yeah, you can take the queen now. It's not a check.
Yeah, indeed. And now there's a threat of queen at f2 checkmate. Now we check, take back the knight. But we have queen at h8. Ooh. Instead of going queen at h8, apparently knight at h3. Allowing king takes g2, but queen here, king goes back, and this is checkmate. So he missed a shorter mate. Went for queen at h8, bishop block, knight gets another queen. Okay, but now it's not check. But the black king is safe, is it? Against a pawn, a knight, and a rook. There's no mate in one. There's no mating sequence.
Not with checks.
Not with checks. So okay, so black goes king hunting. So Dead Brown Chess has some news. He says the next shield is next Monday, by the way. And so I'm getting a lot of fizz from someone, but can't work out from who. I was going to just do a little test.
I can roll mine.
No, the volume is fine. It's just I was just getting background fizz for some reason. It's gone now, but not quite sure what it was. Okay, this is going to be a while because it's 62 chapters, but okay, let's keep going. And the next game is against Victor Torau, who I find a very difficult opponent. He's about 2300, but I feel he's a lot stronger. So let's see how the finisher.
In bullet, he's not that strong, but in long time controls, he's super annoying.
Yeah, okay, maybe that's it. And then in bullet, I have no chance against anyone. So, so queen e2 check. I mean, he just berserks me in bullet and crushes me. So
Strong at long time control. He actually prefers that.
yeah, I see. Queen e2. Okay, so as you can see, Stockfish is making comments in the margin, but I don't think there's anything really worth commenting, especially. But except that Black has done fine in the opening at h6. Okay, so knight again. Stockfish always does like rook g8 to defend the g7, and I noticed when playing the finisher in Bughouse, he always plays rook g8. But here he goes for knight f5, and I guess the problem with that is you don't really want to take back with the knight because the knight can get harassed too easily. So he then plays rook g8, a6, knight takes d4, and I guess that's why he went for the knight, is because the knight's quite an active piece. But yeah, Stockfish coming up with very strange suggestions. Pawn at d7, I guess it's to stop, so that if you take this pawn, you can just go rook b8 and the knight's not hanging. By going knight at d4, suddenly this knight is a problem. Two pieces are hanging both. Oh no, the knight defends the knight, so what's wrong with this? And we could even take the queen at some point if we wanted to. But okay, rook b8, bishop takes c6, knight takes. So, yeah, I mean, Black's position is a little messy, I have to admit, but it doesn't seem to be completely losing. The rooks seem to be going to be picking up these pawns soon, potentially. Knight takes e4, and that's a blunder. Apparently at f5 was good. So I guess the idea is distract, come in, and no, what's the idea? Distract, come in, and that pawn is a useful piece. Okay, I mean...
I think f6 is the target there.
f6 is the target, okay. So it wants... So instead of knight e4, it thinks this sort of... But okay, so if... Okay, let's just run through. If we did take bishop takes here, well, I'll just turn the engine on again. Oh, knight to h6, picking up the, yeah. I mean, it's, I mean, so if we take the pawn, I guess you're taking the bishop, and then we're taking this pawn, but then, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure exactly, but it's going queen b5, and white's apparently doing quite nicely, but it seems like quite a complex position. So, knight takes pawn. Takes back, queen takes. This, I mean, this visually doesn't seem to be so bad, but okay. I guess the queen can be hit.
No, I don't like this so white.
Doesn't like it so white, yeah. King takes pawn.
But
Queen takes that pawn. And here, apparently, the black king should just run. Instead, he opens up the 7th rank, which is potentially dangerous because of a very key move, which wasn't played, which is knight f8. Which is dangerous because why can't you just take the knight? Because if you take the knight, you can promote to a queen with check.
can't
Or
you just move
you could just move, yep. And then knight takes pawn,
like that?
take the queen, and then promote with to get the queen with check. So, and at the end of that, it's kind of not clear who's actually winning in this line. Actually, it's really not sure. It kind of swings from +3 to -10. So white might be doing okay or not. We really can't say. So at the beginning it was saying, yeah, this is pretty good for white, and I think it's still saying this is pretty good for white, but it's really complicated. But certainly you got 2 queens, so yeah, white's not doing badly. But so moving first was a good idea, but actually at f7 was played, and apparently this is not so good because now black can attack. Knight takes, bishop takes. Bishop takes is a mistake because you should have got rook takes d1 and get that knight with check apparently. So king takes rook, bishop takes knight. How do you follow up the attack? King d2. You've got a knight in hand, or you can go rook takes g7, I guess. But okay, again, I'm not sure. But okay, he took the knight, which is a very reasonable thing to do because now you're threatening mate in 1. But the problem with it is white can now start attacking back. So Victor Terrao attacking back. Takes, takes. Okay, so it really likes the move f8 equals knight for white, but okay. And it really thinks this is critical to promote to a knight. Because promotes to a knight, I don't see it. King c7 or get mated, it says, if you try and take it, and then knight takes 1. It really likes this sort of variation. So let's just see, why is this mating? Why can't I just take the knight? Because then you promote to another knight.
Well, that's a double.
Oh, it's a double check. It's a double check. So this is the power of the double check. So if we go here, then there's knight at d6 check. Distracting. Okay, well, we're going to have to just play this through. This is complicated. If king e8, okay. We're going to go knight at d6 check. Why would you want to do that? Or knight at f6 check.
You get f6.
And
yeah, gets the other.
If king takes knight, queen f7 is checkmate. So queen takes knight is forced. And now the idea is pawn at d7. So if we exchange off queens, queen takes d7, queen takes d7 check, king takes f8, knight at h7 is checkmate. But why can't we just go king takes knight? Because then we suddenly come in on the back rank. And we've now got a rook to land on e8 with mate. Whew, okay. And if we stepped up, then we can get a knight here, check, which we could just take, I guess. But okay, the king is cut off from the 7th rank, so this is going to be bad. Knight at c4, king has to step up again. Let's say to here.
I mean, you have a piece of every kind. So
you have all the pieces exactly. So this is going to be bad. Yeah, queen's going to come in, and the king is just cut off from ever escaping. So that's checkmate. Okay, so promoting to knight was really important for white there, but we can actually quite cool feature in studies. You can actually see the clock times. So both players had 1.5 minutes or so, over a minute in clock time. So time wasn't an issue in this game yet. Bishop e3, and now black is coming in with an attack. Rook takes a1. So apparently missing knight at c4 check, which was mating. Knight at c4, king comes up, pawn here, king takes knight, bishop here, and queen comes in delivering the checkmate. But okay, he just takes the rook, which just looks very secure, and then comes in with the checkmate. King can still go here, but okay. At this point, white resigned. So if king goes here, we've got, yeah, pawn at c4, pawn at c4, pawn at a4, king takes c4, bishop d5, king b5, queen a5, sort of ideas. Or you were saying pawn at a5, pawn at a4 rather, king takes a4, bring the queen in, push the king back, and then drop the pawn. Oh, the king can still come here, but then we just finished off with, there must be a zillion mates in ones. Bishop here, yep, or the knight, yep. Like, this is another of those exercises. Let's count how many mates in ones there are. So There's 1, 2, 3, 4 with the pawn, 5 with the knight, drop a knight, 6, rook drop here, 7. So this might even beat the record of earlier in the stream we had a position where there were 6.
And knight of b6 is not mating. Bishop can take.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my bad. So yeah, rook here doesn't work either. Okay. Okay, so maybe it's not as many as the last one then. But it's so it's a pawn check here or a bishop check here, so that's 1, 2. A pawn check here, that's 3, and a knight check here, 4, 5, because you can also move the knight. Yeah, so maybe it's only 5, or maybe I miscounted. But yeah, anyway, that's just silliness. Okay, so that's how Victor Terrell was defeated. I guess not promoting to knight was the deciding thing in the end, but I don't know overall. Quite an interesting game. Just playing through. Yeah, I mean it's quite a tough position. So somehow something went wrong for white around here. But yeah, okay. Knight takes e4. Yeah, so knight takes e4 rather than stuff like queen b5. But hard to spot because knight takes e4 looked good, but I guess it just left too many tempos on the queen, and then I guess black's pieces became active and started their own attacks. Okay, so weirdly, I've got this one the wrong way around as well, and it's again Fumitox. So maybe it's because when I originally did this, I oriented them so that, like, the winner, I was always like, I was always looking from the winner's perspective, and that would have explained it. So it's really it's really the Fumitox player profile for the games. But the finisher actually won this game, so that's not true. Okay, so a weird piece sacrifice. I'll just actually let's have a little think about. So I don't know if is that sound, this piece sacrifice. E4. Apparently this is something. Yeah, apparently it is sound.
You're just selling a pawn.
Yeah, you're winning a pawn, and okay. Okay, so I threats on f7. Oh my goodness, what's going on here? So threatening mate in 1. Goes on the counterattack. Defends the mate in
Yeah, this is just dead most.
Takes. So we're threatening mate again. Takes. Ooh, what? He gets the queen. Oh, but it's no good because. Okay, this is. He gets the queen, but it's no good. But he didn't necessarily play it correctly. So rook at g8, king here. So now it's mate in 2. So let's just try and think a second without looking. So you've got pawns and knights. Yeah, a pawn here and a knight here. Would that do it? No, that doesn't quite do it. Oh, a knight here. Yes, a knight here. And then the king has to come up. And then a knight here. Yes. Yeah, sorry, we're fighting with each other. Yeah, nice. Because we're both trying to draw the same arrows, so we're cancelling each other out. Nice. Okay, that's a very pretty mate. Okay. Okay, is that antic? That's antic, I'm sure. Okay.
Maybe we'll be faster than that.
Okay, so what actually happened in the game was a slightly slower mate with rook at h8, bishop here, knight here, pawn here, just and the king died on f3. So the bishop cuts off this square, the knight cuts off that square, and the pawn cuts off the last square. Yeah, so where did that go wrong? I mean, this is quite... I hadn't actually seen this sort of sacking a pawn idea. d5, doesn't even like d5, it likes knight at f4, but okay, he goes for d5, doesn't seem terrible. c6, bishop d3, c takes... I mean, is that the problem? C takes d5. So it feels like c takes d5 is... Yeah, I mean, so already white's got a +10 advantage at this point. So it needs to do something like knight at e5 apparently to hold things together. Okay, so that seems to be some nice opening preparation. Antic. Okay, the lone wolf against the finisher. People are really...
There's not gonna be a wolf defense.
So we're looking for the perspective of the finisher, but yeah, the wolf is white, so he plays e4, d4. And actually, the wolf won this game, so we're going to see how the wolf took down the finisher. Bishop d2, bishop takes c3, bishop takes c3, at h3. Stockfish doesn't like it at all. I guess g2 is already defended, so it feels it's like wasting your attack. And it wants to just take this pawn, which can be taken back, but okay. Maybe dropping on g4, not sure. Oh, it thinks dropping at e3 at some point in the future might be an idea. So the line it likes, I'll just play through it. Knight at e6, queen here, check. Oh, that's white dropping on e3. So I don't know. So it doesn't like this, probably because that pawn at g2 is already defended. But okay. So we'll see what the lone wolf did. So it's still a fairly equal position. Knight at f6. Again, it doesn't. It doesn't like that. But it likes knight.
I wonder why.
Because you just take back the knight like this, and this is why it doesn't like it. And apparently black's okay. But what actually happened in the game was g takes f6, and now, yeah, and now pawn at g7, which seems a perfectly natural thing to do. But again, it's saying, well, queen at b5 is that why it doesn't like it? Yeah, so queen at b5 picking up the knight was the reason it doesn't like it. Yeah, it can't defend.
Sure, that doesn't help.
Can't defend that knight. Right. So okay, so pawn at g7 seems a perfectly reasonable idea from white. But apparently black has mate here. Whew, I wouldn't have guessed it.
I don't know, it makes sense. He just show up knights and stuff. Did Michael not play this? What did he do?
He did play this, and apparently white is winning.
Mate?
Apparently white is winning.
Brown's not mating.
No, it's not mating. King to... Yeah, if you take it, queen at e3 is mating, apparently. So queen at e3, if the king goes back, then you got a pawn here, so you have to take
There's 1,000 mates.
Yeah, so bishop to h3, king goes back, and a knight at f2 will be mate. But if you just don't take it, which is what happened in the game, king d1, then suddenly it's white who's mating. He's got a knight and a queen, so it's checkmate. And apparently there's an even shorter mate. So what was the even short? Oh, this is quite hard to see. Rook at f8. Huh. King takes f8, queen at d8. And just simply... Okay, that's pretty neat. So rook at f8, just bring the queen at king and there, and you've just got the queen and pawn finishing off. That's pretty neat. What happened in the game is also mating, just using the fact you have knight and queen in hand. Okay, so what was the mate for black? And I'll just play the first move. Queen... What? Really? Yeah,
Another
it's like
smothered mate idea.
queen at c1. Okay. And then bishop takes f2. Okay, and the idea now, if we run here, yeah.
Oh, that's pretty obvious.
Oh my goodness. So you have to take it, and then the whole old mate just works. So you have to take it.
It
And then,
works. You don't have a queen.
oh, you don't have a queen. But you just use your knight. Okay. So this is knight e4.
Clear mate, if the engine says so, but it's not obvious to see.
So I guess the
Maybe
point
not for you, Kyle.
is the bishop.
I'm very
The bishop covers the light squares. The knight covers the dark squares. The knights cover the dark
well,
squares.
then
So whenever the king steps up, for example, you have stuff like, whoa, that didn't work. I just, yeah, that's true. So we don't have the queen in hand, but okay, knight here. So if you step up, we have another knight for d2. I assume that's the right thing to do. Yeah, and you can take it, but then we can take back. And he can take here, but now we can control here and then come in. Yes. Yes, so we get in on h3 and then the king goes back, knight at f2, checkmate. But if you don't take, the same thing happens. Okay, so what else could he do? Again, so if he ever goes king takes g2, you have this idea of pawn here and knight here, checkmate. Pawn at h3 doesn't work so well. Knight at h4 is even more powerful, forming a kind of cube. So two knights, three apart, form quite a nice formation, controlling a lot of squares. If the king ever goes here, knight here is checkmate. So the king can't go here, so the king would have to go back here. And then we have a very nice pattern. Another very important two knight mate pattern. So in fact, those two knights, which squares do they control actually? Let's just have a look. So this knight controls this square, and this knight controls this square and this square.
Yes, that's how knights move.
Yeah, I'm just trying to memorize the pattern. What's the actual pattern? So those knights also control these squares. I think it's quite nice to try and, yeah. So this is a sort of, this shape is what they control. So in other words, it doesn't control the squares which are closest to them, and it doesn't control the squares which are in the same line as them. Otherwise, it controls a lot of squares in a big region, apart from this shape. So, yeah, I think sort of recognizing these knight patterns is a kind of really, really useful thing to do, and something which I would probably, the other one which we saw, that so these two knights control two squares like this. It's quite a nice sort of pattern to be aware of. Yeah, so that's a really nice mate. Okay, so I'll just write. I don't know if I'll ever find these again, but let's just write in there, black to play and mate. Okay, so what actually happened in the game is as we saw, white ran away, and Lone Wolf delivered mate. So, okay, wow, this is going slower than I expected. Game 12 of 62. Okay, how to play against a Sicilian against Fairy Chess Artifact 1991. Well, he's going to punish f7, c7, I imagine. But no, maybe not. E5. And I bet Stockfish just wants to take on f7, and it does. I mean, Stockfish just wants to go straight in on an attack here, and so it's kind of... and I shouldn't have the engine on, so sorry about that. Okay. But actually quite interesting move, knight e6, because it has the same kind of effect of getting in on these light squares. Knight at d4, and he's in on the light squares. Although Stockfish really likes just taking d4. Is it taking d4 it likes? Queen takes
On force this and then take back
at
because of
f7,
that.
knight here is checkmate, yeah. So queen takes d4.
But I would take the knight first because it's more likely that your opponent will miss your threat.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, the line the computer gives is queen takes d4, bishop e7. But if you go pawn here first, you can't go bishop e7. But if you then do this, what can he do? He's got bishop takes e6 apparently. Okay, but if you take queen takes d4, doesn't he still have bishop takes e6? But then you've got bishop takes bishop, and you're still threatening mate, which is why this becomes even more powerful, because the king isn't on e7 to take back. So, as well as it being more practical, it's actually slightly better. Okay, but
Mark.
instead he went at d7, and suddenly the computer actually quite likes black. Amazingly.
Yo.
Analyzing here.
I'll just post.
See what you guys are analyzing.
Yeah, hi there, Mark. I'll just post the link in the Discord. We're on stream. So what we're doing is we're looking at the games of TheFinnisher in the Shield in August. We're analysing the
Why though?
what? It's a player profile of TheFinnisher. That's why.
But why?
So we can see both. So we can learn how the mistakes he makes, and learn the mistakes his opponents make.
Opening genius. That's all I know. TheFinnisher is an opening genius.
Yep. And so hopefully by watching his games, we pick up some opening tips, and we also see how he dispatches. Hopefully, we see how he dispatches weaker players, and we'll see how stronger players how he dispatches stronger players, or how stronger players give him trouble.
Talking. The way you're talking seems like you're streaming right now.
I am streaming.
I knew it. I knew it. I can tell by the way you talk. Okay, I'll mute my mic.
You're welcome to join in, but if you're free. But it's very tempting against a weaker player sometimes to play for a practical play that may not be the best move, and it seems like this is what's. So actually, this game went pretty badly for him. From a nice position, we saw an almost mating position. Suddenly he's losing. So it's threatening mate on h2, tries to defend. The king is safe. There's the mate threat on. Well, it's not a mate threat, but there's like pawn at g2 or black one on time in this position. Okay, so where did it all go? Where did it all go wrong? It all went wrong with pawn at d7 instead of queen takes d4. Oh, thanks for the 5 bits.
Me pawn at.
Sorry, say that again, Ante. You got cut off.
No, never mind.
So thanks for the bits.
I was going to say something stupid.
Thanks for the bits, chess player 1909. So you got 5 bits. Yeah, but it's interesting. I mean, so okay, pawn at d7 was a slight mistake, but then knight at f7. Again, this is a very reasonable looking move, but suddenly, I mean, it is weird how black really takes control of this game. White doesn't do that much wrong. So what? I mean, knight at f. Okay, so knight at f7 is a much worse move than it appears, basically. So it really likes knight at g5. Trying to knight at g5? What does knight at g5 actually threaten? I'm not quite sure. It threatened bishop f7, maybe, and then the other knight coming in to d5. So I guess knight at f7 is going too much for material, and the rook is not the right piece for white in this position. So it's a really unfortunate. I mean, white doesn't done that much wrong, but somehow black sort of sorts out all his positional weaknesses and starts picking up a lot of material. Yeah. Anyway, interesting. So we'll go to game 13. Against weak woodpecker, so a 2041 player, and so we're gonna see some more e4 e5. Nope, we're gonna see a very passive opening. So I'm guessing also in these games, I'm guessing white was berserking. Yeah, because you can see he's on 1 minute 21 already.
Yeah, you can see the time.
And so weak woodpecker was just oops. Let's go. Weak woodpecker is just like, I'm just going to try and not be beaten by playing really passively. I'm just going to defend for all my might for 90 seconds, basically. But okay, I mean this. Okay, so I haven't actually looked at any opening issues here, but queen takes d5. Why is that an issue? Bishop takes f5. Oh dear, this is not really. Okay. Yeah, so some players do sack a bit too much. And he comes in with the mating attack. So I think the less said about this. Here, check. Takes. Queen here is checkmate because the queen is blocking off the d file. Okay, so I think I don't need to say much about that game. National Master Mark the Spark. So we saw him earlier being dispatched by the finisher, but now the finisher is black against him. So we see, yeah, c3. Stockfish doesn't like c3. It wants knight c3 and normal theory. So why is c3 bad? Does it drop e4? So rook e1 or something doesn't work to pick up the pawn again, does it? I mean, so I'll just have a. If you did try.
This is a vertical position.
Of course.
No, that's
F2.
garbage.
Yeah,
Play
F2.
bishop takes.
F2 exactly. Yeah. Yeah, but this is completely lost because you just lost a pawn. You can't get back the pawn.
So this
Sorry, Kyle, you were saying.
actually a very complex and kind of theoretical position.
I see.
And he plays this to avoid bishop takes.
Bishop takes f7. Yeah. So this is what happened in the game.
Main move.
and you have to take.
I've never understood this position.
So apparently, you have to take this bishop, and then this. This is just the stockfish line, which may or may not be good because it's just sort of the stockfish quick line. Yeah, I mean it thinks +3, +2 or something. If you, with this, so it really thinks taking this bishop is essential. Bishop b5, just moving the bishop out of the way. It does not like, because pawn at h3 still comes, and then taking the bishop. Well, I'm trying to work out what's the difference, but okay. H takes g2. Rook e1, it doesn't like. It wants king takes g2, but okay. Castles. So it keeps on not liking white's moves in this position. Bishop takes c6. Antic, what do you think?
I'm showing you my ideas.
Can you explain them?
No.
They just,
People to have an explanation.
okay. So why is bishop takes c6 so bad? It wants bishop at h4. That's what it wants for white as it's trying to hold it. Bishop takes knight. So white has got an edge. And so yeah, he's threatening queen takes f2, of course. So it defends. Ooh. Okay, so it's just defending the pawn, I guess. Ooh, that was a free piece. That's so used. By taking off the bishop on g3, he gets a free piece. Bishop g2, and now black, in fact, even has a forced mate. He goes for pawn at e2, knight at h6. So bishop at e4 apparently is another idea, but okay, bishop at e4, knight, pawn at e2, both powerful. Queen takes e2, queen takes e2. Bishop at h2 check, takes, queen, there's checkmate. Okay. So, powerful game from the finisher. I guess just understanding the position better. Yeah, tough. Okay. Game 15 against Crazy Home. Perhaps India's best player. So Crazy Home is white, the finisher is black. Yeah, do chip in with any thoughts. So
I agree that Crazy Home is white and the finisher is black.
Okay.
Yes. Most people will agree.
Crazy Home does like to sacrifice on f7. That's definitely true.
Sacrifice everything. Like he does not give a single shit about material.
And yet he does it quite effectively. I mean, I have to say.
He gets me a lot of times. It's but
he's just giving
no way this should ever work.
But somehow still, like, Stockfish keeps on saying he's making mistakes and the finisher is playing perfectly, and yet after 12 moves it's still plus 0.3, so it's still an equal position in this position, despite the fact that it's been Crazy Home that every single, like, says mistake, mistake, inaccuracy, mistake, blunder, mistake, and mistake again, and then after all those mistakes and blunders it still says, you know, it's an equal position.
This is what it takes for black to equalize in Crazy House.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of what's going on here. The finisher is playing like perfectly or near perfectly, and he's still only equal. Okay, but then a critical mistake comes: knight at e5, and it hates that move. And it wants you just to develop, I guess. d4. But okay, knight at e5, knight at h4, bishop at h3, I guess it's because it's just somehow not recognizing black's mistakes. I don't know why. So there obviously was a stronger move for black here. Like queen d5 apparently is maybe stronger. So the finisher's playing a lot of sort of second best moves. Knight at h4, bishop to h3, bishop here. He then plays queen d5, okay, and picks up that knight, and so, ooh, knight at h3, and still, okay, there's something wrong with this analysis because I think it's only picking up white mistakes. Queen takes e4, bishop g5 it doesn't like. Knight here, takes. Yeah, so suddenly. Okay, so actually, if I just sort of rewind a few moves, like in this position at d6, yeah, white was doing really nicely. Moves like knight to h6, threatening the rook coming in on the 7th rank, and so on. But what actually happened was rook at e3, and this is this a mating threat? Let's have a look. So if white takes the queen, then you have knight here check, and pawn takes pawn is checkmate, for example. Even if white didn't take the queen, I'm sure you have two knights and a queen in hand, so black has surely got a mating threat. So what actually happened is white tries to block off the mating threat, but takes g2. Yeah, well, it just walks into mate. Yeah, but there's no way of stopping this mate. So it was a critical point in the game, basically, around around here is the last sort of chance with knight at h6 while this file was still blocked to try and come in on black's position, and that wasn't taken, and then yeah, so something about the analysis is not, it wasn't properly picking up the mistakes from black, so so yeah, maybe there was something going wrong in the opening as well from black, but so takes, knight here, king back. So I don't know what exactly. So after knight at e5, yeah, so it's only after knight e5 that it really. So after bishop at c6, what? Yeah, it's not clear. Still thinks. So you go bishop takes c6. It says it's a mistake, but then I don't see why. I think it's just I don't think it's just, I think it's still struggling to understand the positions, to be honest, rather than really being mistakes. But okay. Okay, the finisher against Retired Platypus. We saw this before. We've got another one now. So hi there, IJH Chess. You're back. Did you miss anything? Well, you missed about 10 games, and we've got 60 to do. So I don't know. Not sure how we're going to do this, but we've got the finisher against Retired Platypus again. And yeah, we were joined in the chat by Antic and Kyle, and Mark dropped in for a couple of seconds. But didn't want to join us properly. Okay, knight f3 instead of taking on e6. Interesting. Knight c3 instead of taking on e6, and goes straight in for an attack. So he's playing. Yeah. So. There's a lot of pressure here on c3 on the knight. So on the pin, trying to undermine, trying to distract the pawn, trying to come in here. So castles, I think it's a good idea. Just get out of all the trouble. Rook takes g7. My goodness, and it says a takes b2 is essential. I mean, black doesn't look like they've done that much wrong, and yet the computer's already saying plus 17 for white. And I don't know if this is much better, but this is just a sort of alternative line. I mean, black doesn't look in great shape, even there. So it's plus 5. But okay. Rook takes g7, bishop here, rook takes g2, king takes g2. Yeah, he's in on the back rank. This is just game over. Just taking a diagonal piece to. Yeah, black doesn't have anything, and resigns. So that went bad really quickly just from the opening. I mean, what happened there? I mean, I guess a6 was a bit of a waste of time, but gosh, things went badly quickly. Any thoughts?
He plays a6. It's an opening he plays, and I play it too occasionally. I think 12 first started playing is just to avoid video with like variation, where you just
Well, the finisher clearly knew what to do in terms of just getting his pieces out and attacking via h6, and black just didn't do anything wrong, but just didn't have anything. Maybe taking on g2 was too much. Yeah, rook takes g7, I guess, was the critical error.
right.
Rook takes g2, if anything, was the critical error instead of taking this pawn. If I just look at the opening book to see like the success of black in this position, it says no game found. Okay, so this is actually the only time this opening. There's some weird stuff going on with them not taking the pawn, with white refusing e6, and vice versa. And Antic says, I'm just excited for my games against him. Game 34 should be by the end of the week at our current pace. And IDH says, Mark is watching. Okay, so that's cool. Cool to have you with us, Mark. And Angelic Jake says hi. Okay. So.
Okay.
Hi there, Antic.
I think you finished reading Angelic Jake's comments. Something else?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kyle?
Yeah.
I don't think I was the one that caused that.
Okay, so I think I said at the beginning of the stream that mistake sometimes that that like weaker players sometimes make is exchanging when you don't need to exchange. So taking here on f6, you're just giving black a structure around his king side that he would even sometimes sacrifice a piece for.
I mean, that knight for that structure. So
exactly. So sometimes gives up a knight just even for that structure. So you don't just give it away for nothing. So IDH is off to actually play some ZH, so that's a good thing to do. And we'll still be going when you come back, I'm sure. So yeah, and I think it's just exchanging too much, because obviously you want these pieces in hand to do stuff, but actually you've got to make sure that they're more beneficial for you than for your opponent. Okay, so things have gone. Things takes bishop at b2. Bishop at b4. I would play something like bishop at b4 myself, actually, sometimes in this kind of position. So, but apparently it prefers bishop at d2. But it feels, I don't know why it's so bad. But of course, the one problem with bishop at b4 is it can be hit by something like this. But I don't know. Is that a move for black here? a5. Yeah, it's high up on the moves. So yeah, black is.
I'd probably play that.
Yeah, a5, knight c6. So that's the only disadvantage I think of bishop e4. The external defense is more active, but it can also be hit more easily. Okay, so bishop takes f8 seems perfectly reasonable, given what you're doing. And queen takes f8 is apparently a blunder, because I guess you could go bishop takes c3 check first and then take on f8. I think it's the reasoning. So then he defends c3.
Even though that's
rook b1, takes. So he's in. Okay, so this. Okay, he just defends. Takes the rook, takes.
Take the rook. This one's the queen would check. Wait. Knight at b2, queen at...
Queen at d1. So, yeah. So what do we learn as a weaker player? What did they do wrong? They exchanged off too early. And I mean, I guess that's a lesson for myself as well.
Stupid, you have to castle faster.
You have to castle faster. You need internal defense in that position rather than external defense. And I guess that's a mistake I'd make myself. Sometimes bishop at d2 is more solid, and yeah. And where do they not? I guess it's this move is maybe a problem, because that's what's delaying them from castling instead of going bishop d3 and
Get the bishop out.
get the bishop out and castle. Yeah, okay. So that's the lesson. That's the lesson. So the point of this is to be instructive. So that's what. Okay. So now we're back on to Victor Toral, who I find a very impressive player, and we've agreed he's one of the toughest players out there. Even though, I mean, he's a 2300, but he's a real tough player.
He's higher than that.
Yeah. Okay, so Victor Toral's playing the Scandinavian. Swinging his queen over to a5. Bishop h5. I mean, this seems perfectly reasonable. I don't know if Stockfish is suggesting this, but this seems perfectly fine. g4. And it must be this is something that the finisher's prepared, because... But I guess the point is that the knight is not yet on f6, so there's no like double take on g4. So this is actually a perfectly decent structure for White's kingside. He can develop the bishop here, fianchetto, and castle, and so on. Okay, so he takes this bishop. I mean, I've seen positions sometimes where you don't even bother taking this bishop. You just, let's just see, does it want to take the bishop? Yeah, it wants to take it. But the bishop is trapped. You can take it, but although if you do take it, you are opening up the h-file. But okay, why not just take the free bishop? Bishop c8. Interesting. It likes queen e2 as well, or other moves. Okay. Ooh, okay. Knight a4. I'm not understanding this, I have to admit, but I think it's trying to get the queen off b7 somehow. But the queen can still go to c6. I'm not. So if you had a bishop in hand, then obviously that would be cool. Sorry, you were saying something. You're saying bishop takes b7.
Drop it back so that he can threaten that.
Oh yes, he's dropping it back to threaten. I see. Yeah, so that was perfectly reasonable. So let's just look at the crazy variation the computer gives. Ah, interesting. That is annoying. That is annoying. And if you had another pawn, you stick it on b7 again. But okay, he went knight b to d7 to block the pin and take the bishop. It doesn't like bishop b5, so it thinks take d7 check first, and then knight takes d7, and then bishop d5. So saving your bishop, I guess. Yeah, and then bishop b5 is possible. Yeah, exactly. Or something else. So yeah, so actually the finisher just lost a piece in that. d8, queen takes e6. Okay. Bishop b6. He's still not getting castled, but okay. He's going straight in on the attack at e6. And I should turn the engine off. Bishop at g8 defending, takes, attacks again. Bishop g8. Okay, so White's got a really nice attack going. So where did this all go wrong? Rook d8 seemed reasonable.
I want to play e6.
There must be so e6 was a really...
I think Dak should have played e6.
Yeah, e6. Yeah, e6 here is essential. That was probably the key move. So instead by going here...
Take.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Okay, we're good. Sorry, yeah, you play. e6 takes, exactly, you got it. Yeah.
This, but...
so it's much more equal.
You're kind of getting... I feel like you can get the bishop out and castle.
Yeah, exactly. And White doesn't have that much material.
Oh, the Stokes are good for White. I don't...
But White doesn't have that much material in hand, so So this is really nasty, and apparently the only black wants to take f takes e6, queen takes e6, and can't you just and
G5.
okay? So I'm just confused.
Right.
You can't do this because it's
You
mate.
can take and yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So if you do this takes, and this is a mate. Wherever the
Then
king
drop
goes,
a
drop a
piece.
pawn is mate. So that's why this e6 move is such a tough one. It still thinks takes, but then how do you defend after queen takes? I mean, it says rook back to b8.
That's G8. No, that doesn't work.
It wants just to go rook back to b8. So I guess this all started with this move, rook d8. So if instead he'd done rook b8, apparently we'd all be fine. And then pawn at g2. Rook g1. And then bishop b6. So that would have been a very solid way for black to play. Or this. And even winning the queen potentially. Okay, so but what happened is rook d8 and white is in on black's position, and it's going to get ugly. Although knight f7 was not the most efficient way of finishing it off. E takes d7, for example. Rook takes d7. Queen a8 check. I mean, they're all that's a mate in 12 apparently, but anyway, he goes knight f7. So I think that's the mistake he's making, going for material rather than going for the mate. The rooks is not the best piece to mate in this position, maybe, but so maybe a slight error. But he gets the job done with the rook, so I'm not going to criticize. Queen coming here. Let's checkmate. Okay, next game against PKNM. So yeah, Yasser has not played any normal chess games on Lichess. Because why should he? He's played lots of normal chess games over the board. E3, E6. So we have a sort of D4, D5, but he's going for the bishop G4 line of this, and bishop B4 as well. C3. Okay. So taking f3 is also possible, but he just drops back. Takes. So white's done okay in the opening. There are a lot of sort of light square weaknesses. So he's up against PKNM, so a very tough player, 2500 from Sweden. Castles, 94, but he's equalized in terms of the opening. So I mean, bishop at g3, knight takes g3, f takes g3. So he's targeting the weakness on e3. He's targeting it even more. Although by doing that he does... Stockfish quite likes queen takes g5 with this, but then there could be a bishop drop. So I'm not quite sure what the intention is. Really? Just give up the queen. Sometimes I don't understand Stockfish, I have to admit. And why wouldn't... I see. And why wouldn't... let's see, so why wouldn't the queen just move out of the way? Because then e3 falls, I guess. The queen was to go here. This knight takes pawn ideas. This knight takes g3 is one idea. Bishop at f2 is another idea. Knight takes g3 apparently is the strongest idea. Just a discovered attack on the queen. Yeah, and if the queen just drops back, I guess white doesn't have a pawn to put on f2 is the real problem. So that's what's causing trouble. So you're actually giving up the queen, crazy. Okay, but takes. Knight c4. Okay, knight e5, which looks like a perfectly reasonable move. Although for some reason Soccer just wants to go back to a3, but okay, knight e5, takes, and sacks on h3. If black had a bishop, then obviously bishop on e3 would be very strong. But he's got a knight. Okay, knight on e2
You
is
can
strong.
use a queen.
He could use the queen as well. Queen at e3. In fact, queen at e3 is the move it suggests, and it thinks that black would be completely crushing here. This sort of stuff. And you've got all these pawns. You're going to go drop them all on the second rank like Yasser does. Okay, so queen e3 was the move, but instead he goes hunting material a little bit. Queen h4. Okay, likes that. Rook at g4. Bishop at f2 might have been stronger. So the idea is just that a pawn here and a queen here will be checkmate, so the queen can't be taken. If the queen is taken, oh, he doesn't have a pawn, but oh yeah, bishop takes pawn, so he does have a pawn. Yeah, so takes here. Bishop takes c1 is a terrible move. So he should take this rook, because the rook is a threat to his own position. But he takes this, and yeah, there is rook takes g7, and white would be back in this game. Rook takes g7. I mean, so just
Yeah, let him take that.
yeah. So if you take it, he's got 3 knights and 2 bishops and 2 pawns. So you can't take it. So bishop at f6 would be mating. So you go to here, and then something like knight at f3 apparently is... No, not knight at f3. Whoops, knight at f3.
One for black.
Yeah.
Oops. Yeah, knight at f3 to cover the g1 threat. Okay. So you can't... If you just took h2, it just takes back. So you have to just cover your own back. Rook at f5. So he's threatening just to take on f3, I guess. Then you just take this. And the point is, if the king takes back, you're threatening queen here and then dropping a pawn here. Okay, so it's really uncertain who's winning this. It suddenly turned into a huge fight. But instead, he played knight f3 immediately, I think. Knight f3 immediately to defend. So rook takes g7 first, then knight f3 was much more interesting. And now the rook is liquidated. Rook at h6. Takes. Queen at g4. f6. And it's too slow. Because... So, yeah, I'll just... Rook at h3. Takes. Oh yeah, this is very beautiful. Sacrifice the queen and come in with checkmate. But not obvious at all. So the idea is, yeah, distract the bishop from h1 and then you can come in with the queen. But instead he goes queen takes h5 check, and actually white is doing okay now. With a move like rook at h3. White would be okay, be safe. But he did bishop, which is not quite as good. Knight here check, takes, bishop here. Okay, so it's really so black apparently has regained some kind of control, even though there is pressure on black as well. Takes. Whoa. So suddenly he finds. So suddenly it is black who gets mated. So that was a bit of a swing. So apparently the key mistake was somewhere here. Rook takes g7, rook d8 blocks. Yeah, so this analysis doesn't catch all the mistakes for some strange reason. So a knight at g8 was a mistake because now white is winning. Because if you drop with the bishop, you're completely safe. That's a puzzle for you. So dropping with the bishop is safe, but dropping with the knight gets you mated.
Knight at e7.
The knight at e7 idea later becomes a big problem because you got that knight. If you block with the bishop,
You have a bishop, you still have mate, you have enough hooks. The knight for an attack, yeah, that and then push and then drop knight at g4. Does that even work?
I do.
It takes f2 then. So, you do that.
That doesn't work, apparently. No, apparently that doesn't work. Because the knights cover everything. So apparently it's bishop f4. Because if you take, bishop takes g3, and then you're distracting the bishop. We say rook at h3 will work to distract the bishop, but or even better, apparently knight at f1 works. Oh, okay, so the knight's a good attacking piece in that scenario. Queen f2. Oh no, that doesn't work. The knight covers g1. Okay, queen f2, queen takes g. No, hang on. Queen f2, and if he just moves, then knight takes g3 is checkmate. Oh my goodness. And if he blocks, rook at h3 is checkmate. Okay. Okay. So is the knight a key piece in this scenario? Like if we try to use the rook, does that not bishop takes h3? I see. So and the knight is a key piece. Okay, so it's nothing to do with being attacked. The reason why you shouldn't block with the knight is because the knight is a key piece to get in. When you block with the knight, this whole thing doesn't work apparently. You can't get in on the with only pawns and bishops and queens. You can't mate the white king. So something like that. This, yeah, queen takes h4 works, but if you block with knight, then queen takes h4. After say at f3, queen takes h4. Takes back. We do what we did before. Bishop f4. King can even just drop back to h1. Yeah, and there isn't the same. So if we had a knight in hand, how would we finish this off? Any ideas? We could go knight here, check, and then do no. Let's see, does that quite work? Then do a reveal double check, and then I'm being a little bit. So can you see the mate with the knight? If we had a knight in hand instead of a bishop, so we had a bishop, a knight, and a queen. Can we see the mate? Maybe go queen here, takes, knight here.
That's not going to work.
No.
Takes. No. Okay, I'm going to have to cheat and then just do it all over again. So, if we block with the bishop, and he does this, takes, here, here. So what's the mate?
That was right.
It does work. Queen takes h2, knight takes.
It does work.
Knight to g3. So it's the only thing that works. I mean, is it the only thing that works, or no? There are other things. It's this in some order, basically. F takes g3, knight takes king here. You draw the king out, and you get it on the dark squares, basically. And bishop at e3 is checkmate. So the knight is a key square to cover one color complex, and then you can use your bishops on the other color complex. Right, so this is a back to play and mate puzzle. Whew. Okay, so what actually happened was he blocked with the knight and he got smothered. Well, he got mated with the knight. So the knight's a great attacking piece and a bad defensive piece. That was just, and it was just a critical error from the finisher there.
Okay, I have
Let's
a
go
request.
to
Okay, yeah.
Antics games.
Antics games.
Yeah.
Wind forwards. Yeah, we can't do 62 games. We have to be kind of realistic here, I guess. We've been 2 hours already. So we start with 34. And did you play other games as well?
I think two
It's
others.
3 games.
57 and 59. Okay, so we'll go 57 and 59 after this. Okay, so e4, e5. So we're going to be playing. Okay, but Antics playing like Platy d3. Bishop d3.
Going d4, bishop takes f7.
Castles. Knight c3, d6. h3. Okay, Stockfish doesn't like h3. Knight a5. Bishop b3, c6. So controlling the center. Queen d2. Maybe he's going to castle queenside. b5. Sort of advance warning. If you castle
Nope,
queenside,
not gonna be showing that.
if you castle queenside, I've got an attack coming for you quickly with b4 to follow. Although nothing's been exchanged yet in this position. So knight e2. It likes just castles kingside, but okay, knight takes b3, a takes b3, bishop at h5. So the threat, I guess, is to take the knight, maybe drop a knight here and take the bishop, or just create some kind of hole on g2. And Stockfish just likes hiding the knight on h2. It wants this game of cat and mouse to continue. So let's just look at how Stockfish wants. Oh, it wants knight at h2. Okay. Oh my goodness.
Oh, okay.
This is what Stockfish dreams of. Takes the bishop, put a bishop on. And yeah, okay. And this is still an equal position. But instead, knight g3, and he gets the hold he wanted on g2. And knight takes e3 might have been even better than knight h4, but no, they're about equal. So he goes knight h4, knight f5. Okay. So knight f5 is hitting g2. It's protected. I mean, it's protected twice and attacked twice. Seems reasonable. I don't understand the computer move, which is queen e2 instead. So let's have a look.
Can take f3.
It wants knight at e1 to. Oh, I see. f3 is the issue. Yeah, it wants you to defend f3. Okay, that's what it is. I was being a little bit slow. So the point is f3 is hanging. That's why. What the problem is, not only is it hanging, that also is the queen's under attack. So you have to play queen e2 anyway. So it's just knight takes f5. Seems reasonable. Again, it wants you to get just a piece out of your half of the board, but knight takes f5 looks good. Knight here, bishop takes d4, knight takes. So now the danger of pawn drops on e2 look really awkward. Knight takes, e takes, rook g1, blocks at g6, bishop at h4.
I have to say, this is definitely not my finest game.
Yeah. Your game with Jan Lee when you crushed Jan Lee, I think that has to in 2+0 as well. That has to be one of your finest games. Okay, so the rook is under attack. Rook g3, but okay, it's a difficult position to play because this Black's king is completely safe, and he's just sort of making incursions into your side of the board and staying very safe at the back. Bishop at d2. It prefers pawn at d2, but okay, don't see why it makes a huge difference. And he's getting in, and you're restricted now to a tiny portion of the board as as he now delivers mate.
I don't want to see this anymore.
No. Rip. Okay.
Yeah, at least you got a lot of pieces in hand.
Okay, so let's go to 57.
I regret asking to see my games.
Okay, let's go to 56 and then 57 and go on. So 56, he was up against Yasser Seirawan. So we saw how nicely he did in d4, d5. Okay, it's this. And it's funny because I saw Yasser playing exactly this opening himself, so I'm wondering whether he got it from TheFinnisher, because I'm sure I saw him playing it against Oppa in September. So I don't know if this is something he'd played before, because I hadn't noticed him playing this h6 g5 setup. But he was playing it against Opera in September, so I wonder whether he got it from this game. Okay. Bishop at f8. It does not like, not surprisingly. The best move being king f8. But okay. Okay, so black comes in, gets two pawns. But it doesn't like this whole. It doesn't like this exchange. It prefers just getting rid of this knight, I guess. Okay, but needs to do something. Okay, so this is Yasser putting on the heat.
Bamboo stick.
Stays safe at the back. That's a very nice little check because the bishop is pinned to the king. He's coming in on the back rank. So he loses his rook, he loses other rook, and the king is forced out into the open. And okay, it's all over. So that's the Yasser crushing. And
Ever played g5 against Yasser?
it's funny because Yasser was himself playing this opening. So it's another game between TheFinnisher and Antic.
Playing a French.
And
wolf.
Antic was playing the wolf with really
Gold.
King e7. Okay.
Confident that was a slip, but I also may have just been really tilted.
I think you were trolling.
I think it was a slip.
Okay. Okay. Well, it's not gonna end well. Okay, so I think.
Okay, and he might spend 2 seconds for the entire game.
But this is a nice finish. So double check, so forces the king to move. Check again, picks up the queen. Double check again, forces the king to move. And wherever the king goes, there's there's a checkmate. So that's
He's not called the finisher for nothing.
so it was a nice finish. Okay, so we'll finish the rest of this study. So 58 to 62, and one more antic game. IJH chess. I'm I would look at it, but I'm going through these games because this is a player profile, so I'll look at it like after. I'll just copy the link. Except I can't. Okay. Well, I'll open it in a new tab. Okay. So this is against Louis Bort, an 1800 player. So we're going to see. Okay. See, he gets the fork, gets the rook. So already it's looking pretty good for black, and just too many piece sacrifices. So this is a quite nice idea. If you take this, your queen is coming in, and I can't quite see the mate, but I guess he's taking the bishop as well. So he's defending c2. Oh, takes a knight. Okay, he's just going to get a lot of pieces, and okay, I mean, it's just going to be a mate. Okay, so
Well, he lasted more moves than I did.
yeah, but okay, so what's going? I mean, obviously that you did king
Oh.
e7, so something went wrong there. c3. Okay, so first, like, what went wrong for white? Okay, so firstly, c3 weakens the light squares too much, so that's not such a good idea. Knight f4, computer hates it. Doesn't seem so bad when I'm just looking at it, but it just likes castling quickly. Oh yeah, and that's why it's bad, because if you don't castle, that's the threat. Bishop takes knight, queen takes, knight drop on c2. So this is, you have to watch out for these tactics in the opening. And yeah, and now it's kind of almost game over. Knight takes d5, bishop here, then the knight. Yeah, I don't. And then the rest of the game, it's just a matter of sort of technique finishing the job. Okay, game 59.
Oh, antic again.
Antic again.
Let's see if this one is less embarrassing.
Unfortunately, it's another French defense like the last game, and you're also taking that knight, which seems reasonable, because doubled f pawns are not usually so strong. Doubled e pawns and d pawns control the center. Doubled f pawns, they're a bit ugly. Bishop e7.
Well, on f6, it's nice.
Yeah, on f6 it's very nice. Yeah, sorry, I meant these sort of f7, f5 pawns are not so pretty. Knight to h5. Bishop h6. Bishop at h4. So, okay, there was a key move here that Stockfish really liked, which is bishop at f6. So if you just take the bishop on f6, it wants to go knight takes pawn, king. Well, if king d8, then knight takes this pawn as well. So it's just if queen e6. So either castle or even sacrifice on c7 it's thinking about. The idea being if you take that.
I understand. I don't understand.
Pawn at d6, and what does the king do, basically, is the problem. King d7. It's because you're controlling all the dark squares around the king is the idea. d5. Yeah, this is... yeah. And probably what the finisher would actually do in that situation is take that. And there isn't a mate threat because the knight's defending. So this is actually still holdable. Rook g8. Pawn at g5 apparently is good for white in this situation. Or pawn at g7. Pawn at g5, just pushing the bishop back to f8. And potentially black just ignores that and goes knight at f4, and yeah, it can knight at f4, queen at e3 check. Okay, you got the queen in hand. Queen e3 check, trying to pick up the knight, and then that's quite a good way of just forcing the knight into a more passive position. He has no knight in hand to defend that knight, so yeah, it's forced to retreat, and then you could take the bishop. So something like this. So it's still fairly equal, but white's got good initiative. So bishop at f6 is quite a nasty move. Hitting g7, but also hitting the queen and kind of encouraging this business. But okay, so instead bishop to h5 is slightly less forcing, and black has this queen b4 check, which indeed is what the finisher played. And I thought queen takes g2 would follow, but okay. Yeah, so queen takes b2 is not as good. Bishop at g4 is a much better move, hitting the knight and also pinning this knight to the queen. So knight takes g7, bishop takes g7, castles, and then he comes in on that pin. Although it's here and here he prefers just going queen takes b2, but coming on a pin looks pretty decent as well. Defends. So in this position actually it says just give up. I don't see why. Oh, and then come in. Don't take back the bishop. Come in on f6. Okay, so this is quite. I don't know. Yeah. So try and keep a bit of momentum going. But okay, instead this seems perfectly reasonable. But now black gets a nice attack going. Knight takes d4 comes anyway, because now the pin is blocked. Now takes here, takes the queen, blocks up, and can't take the bishop because is there a mate threat? With knight here and knight here, the king would have to run up. So h3
Oh yeah.
takes. So queen is still defending everything, but there's probably material deficit problems. Ooh, and so he wins the queen. King g1, and Stockfish is already seeing some kind of mate. Okay, and then this is a very, I mean, like, there is no mate in 1 because this would be mate in 1, but the knight covers it. And okay, and Stockfish wants to go knight to e5 and does see a mate sequence starting with knight. Sorry, not it was knight, not knight here. It was knight here. Knight takes e5. It does see a mate sequence going as follows. But interesting, yeah, what the finisher plays. I think this is quite instructive. Is blocking out the king from going anywhere. Basically, can't. All these squares are blocked, so the king is just paralyzed on these 2 squares. So Antic tries to create an escape route. What was the best move? Knight takes e5. No, sorry, that's the previous one. What was the best move here? I think there was no escape from checkmate. So he tries to create an escape route, but there is no escape. Black just has too many pieces. Yeah, even queen controlling this whole.
Well,
yeah. So
glad that those 3 games were featured on your stream.
Well, I think this last game was actually pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. I mean, this bishop at f6 idea, that was really interesting because it doesn't look like it's a huge difference, bishop at h4 versus bishop at h6, but yeah, it makes a big difference. So, and these moves, bishop to f6, it's the kind of move that to know when you have to play it is a really so that there are some players who give away their bishops too easily, I notice, when they don't really have a good attack going. But it is that kind of critical move that really you can win games with. When the point is you have 2 pieces already on f6, so it's really coming in on f6 in a very powerful way. So should we look at the last 3 games and then complete it? That'll be the end of the stream, and I'll have a quick look at IJH's. game. So the finisher GSVC. So the finisher is white. So this is the wrong way around. Let me just turn it around. So because I'm streaming, it takes like 20 seconds to turn around the board. Okay, so we have a Scandinavian. Is it Scandinavian? Yeah. Takes, but he doesn't take back immediately. Blocks on e6. d4. Yeah, I'm not going to believe the Stockfish analysis saying these things are mistakes. This is just opening. Takes. Just trying to pin the knight to defend e4. So he's forced to take it just to try and defend. Castles. Bishop d6, and so if I just look at the evaluation, it's still roughly equal, so yeah. At e5, just looks like a very decent move from the finisher, forking the two bishops. And yet Stockfish prefers bishop at e5, and I can't quite fathom why. So it must be it wants to keep the pawn for later. No, that's why. It's because the bishop and the knight. No, so why is... Yeah, I see. So that's why. The bishop actually defends d4. So it's very important to put a bishop on d4 because then... Yeah, then you actually make progress somehow. Interesting. Bishops defend backwards, basically. Knight takes pawn, bishop takes. There's an attack on h2. Okay, GSVC looks like he has a dangerous attack on with h3 as well, but yeah, the queen covers everything. Takes on g7. Ooh, takes on g7 is a huge mistake. I mean, it seemed like a very natural thing to do. Best move is just taking the rook. Lose your queen, really? And then rook at b8. So I'm going to have to look at the engine to work out why can't the king just run up? Because then you just take the other rook. Okay, you're not getting mated immediately, and okay. And knight here is potentially a mate threat or something, maybe. I'm not. Yeah, this is rather complex. So apparently, queen takes g7 is a huge mistake, apparently, which just completely eludes me why. Because of bishop h to e5, attacking the queen, defending the rook, and ooh, pawn at g2 is a huge threat, and you can't really defend it. Oh my goodness. So yeah, that's crazy. So saying just take the rook and go on a counterattack, ignore the queen, basically. You're losing the queen anyway. That was the point of that whole thing. So don't waste time trying to save the queen. But anyway, he did. Hang on. So what happens? Pawn at g2 does come anyway. Knight here takes g2. Okay.
Yeah, you have knight at f6, and you're gonna be able to take the queen.
So it basically says do bishop here first and then pawn at g2, and it says that makes a huge difference. So it must be this bishop being...
F6.
Oh, because that defends f6. Okay, that's why g7 was such a big mistake. Okay, and then he has to sacrifice the queen, and then he's on a huge defensive job. Discover check, so he can't take the queen. Queen e7 check was mating more quickly, but this is also going to be mating. He's just got too many pieces, and it's just going to be mate. Okay, but he's not mating accurately, but it will be mate. Check, check. And the knight comes in to deliver a nice bishop and knight mate. Okay, so just to quickly look at the last couple of games. Blunderman against the finisher. The finisher is black. at e5 seems reasonable enough, but Stockfish prefers just developing. Takes, knight c3, just pins it. Bishop d2, takes. Bishop at g5 from Blunderman is considered a blunder because bishop at h4 is not hit by the knight. But it's a blunder because it wants to do f6. Because if this, then you're opening up the e file. So f6 was the interesting defense. Okay, but instead he runs with the queen and then comes in here. Oh dear. So taking away all white's pawns and launching an attack on h3. Knight b3 is a bit of a mistake because you're swapping off queens, castling, and probably hoping to drop a pawn on g2. Okay, so g takes h3 is a mistake because now white's got an attack. So it wanted knight at c3, threatening this. Okay. I mean, g takes h3 looks like such a natural move. Knight at c3. What? Oh my goodness. Okay, so I mean, this is not very straightforward at all. I mean, the evaluation is just going up and down like crazy. So I'm gonna have to just wind back again. This is far too complicated. Okay, so we're in this position here, and black is doing really nicely. Okay, takes here. Lines up, castles, launches an attack on f7, swaps queens. Okay, so black is doing, as I said, very nicely. Even better than swapping queens was probably just taking on e5. But okay, swaps queens.
Yeah.
And now the problem is, because he swapped queens, actually there are mate threats on the black king, which is why he castles. Takes h3. Takes back. So taking back seems perfectly reasonable, but apparently knight at c3 is better. I think so. The mistake comes earlier, basically, in swapping queens. Okay, but f3 is a mistake because at g2 and black is now forced mating. He has to take this pawn because he has no knight.
Have to go pawn it.
And yeah, it's checkmate. So yeah, pawn at f6 is a mistake. You have to go. So pawn at f6 is a mistake because of this. So I see. So pawn at f6 is just one move too slow. This is just, it's such a minor point, but white has a threat that cannot be countered. That a threat that once it's played, you have to keep on defending and you will be mated. So you need to have a threat that's even faster. Pawn at f3 is threatened like a mate in is like a threat and then another threat and then it can't be countered. Pawn at e7 is just that one move faster in arriving at mate. And that's what makes all the difference, that one move. And suddenly white is now winning. I mean, how critical is that? Because pawn e7, you need to take this and then you're threatening mate, whereas pawn e7, you're immediately threatening mate after pawn takes rook. Queen here, takes anything here, and so on. Yeah, so for example, if black were to do this, you just take the queen. King takes, and actually a really nice mate is just draw the king out one further, and queen here, checkmate. Okay, so really interesting. So Blunderman just that tiny is doing completely fine, but just makes one move, makes a threat just one move too slow. And the finisher finished with an easy game, berserked against Louis Sport. He's got a big advantage because he's attacking f7 and attacking g7, the classic Crazyhouse idea, attacking both those squares. He's even happy to give away the queen because he'll get back a queen on h8. So he's got a big attack going. His own king is completely safe, and he's attacking on, again, f7 and g7. And he comes in and getting a big material advantage. Rook at f8, king e6, knight f4 check. What does the king do? The king has to come here. Rook d8 check, king to c6, and queen b5 will be checkmate. So before that happened, Lewis Bort resigned. Okay, so I think that concludes the player profile of the finisher. And yeah, thanks for joining Antic and Kyle. Yeah, any last thoughts of what we can learn from the finisher's game?
Were you gonna? Oh,
IJH's game.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm saying any last thoughts on the finisher? Well, so I have IJH's game here. No. Well,
JH is a beast.
Okay, so I mean, I'd say on last thoughts with the finisher, I'd say, well, if you make sure you know, don't fall into basic opening traps for starters, and just awareness of certain opening traps that he catches the opponents out in, and yeah, the attacks on f7 and g7 against much weaker opponents, against sort of more slightly stronger opponents, it's like just slightly faster attacks, and I don't know. So again, I mean, what would you say he has? What would you say is difficult when playing him for yourself, Antic? Like from your own.
Getting out of the opening with a playable position, literally impossible.
No, that's one of the things, but he
So
I thought I was fine after king e7, but he really knew how to take advantage of it.
yeah.
you thought you were fine after king e7. What? Yeah, just like black is already equal enough in Crazyhouse. Surely it must be not that bad to throw in a king e7.
So the point is, yeah, it's not all about material. It's about initiative and position and all these things. And yeah, he definitely is. He sometimes, and what we've also seen in some of those games is he doesn't necessarily play the most directly mating sequences. Sometimes, not always. Sometimes but he's very good at staying safe at home.
He's pretty happy to just play it slow.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Take his time winning.
Take his time winning.
I would love to hear your commentary on this game.
Okay.
Because I'm struggling to understand it.
So you've seen it already. So an early d4 from IJH. So sort of Scotch. Ooh, knight g8. Okay, so I say this is what you call an undeveloping move. And yeah, the problem with knight takes c6, obviously, if he takes the d pawn, you're going to have an exchange of queens, and all white's pieces are very active, and so the exchange of queens is going to help white. The queen is going to benefit white more because his pieces are more active. If he takes with his b pawn, I mean, obviously taking with the b pawn would be advisable in this situation. So b takes c6 was advisable, but instead he develops his bishop.
Accelerate his development.
And actually, in this position, because the bishop is the only active piece, although knight takes d8 is probably the best move, I would be very tempted to go knight takes bishop even, just because that's black's only developed piece in the position. And so, okay, knight takes d8 is a stronger move, so it's plus 22 versus plus 19, or plus 24 versus plus 20. But I'd be very tempted to do knight takes bishop, just because all black's although the one advantage of going knight takes queen is that it forces, if in order for black to take back that knight, the king can never castle. So maybe I would take the queen after all, just for that reason. So he does take the queen, and now the king can't castle. And so whenever the king is in this sort of scenario, I'd always watch out for a queen at f8, pawn at e7 type of scenario. Obviously, it doesn't apply here because the bishop covers both the squares and the knight covers e7. So that's not in the position yet, but it's just sort of an idea lurking somewhere if the bishop and knight were ever distracted. Okay, so he drops the queen. So I'm expecting him to come in and take the rook and come in on the back rank. And he's gonna. And because he's coming on the back rank, because he has a knight in hand, I'm looking forward to a smothered mate. And I thought I'd get a smothered mate, because if you blocked with the knight, for example, you would take, and then smothered mate on f7. But the opponent seems quite smart to that, and is giving his king luft on e7 to run away to. Except the problem with this move is that there's a piece drop on f5 that stops the king running any further, and IJH doesn't. Yeah. I see. The queen actually covers d6 as well, so he actually finds another mate in one, which is rook at e8. And another very nice pattern of queen and knight, which doesn't work in this position, is the knight at d4, because when the knight and queen are sort of diagonally sort of 3 apart in this way, they if you notice, they cover a whole almost a whole big square of squares. No, not that big, but they cover a lot of squares.
A square of squares?
It's like a. Sorry, not a square of squares. What I mean is a 3x3 square. They cover a 3x3 square. It's quite a big area of the board are covered by a knight and queen in that kind of formation. But actually, yeah. But the point is, obviously, in this particular position, that 3x3 square is not useful, because then the king could run to d6. But I just wanted to mention that's a very nice pattern, which I only noticed probably when I hit 2000 or so, that knight and queen 3 apart actually control so many squares.
I have not noticed that at all yet.
But
so.
it's pretty cool, right? And just look at it. The queen controls the edges and the diagonal, and then the knight controls the last 2 squares. So they control a whole big region of the board. The queen and knight 3 apart. Yeah. So it's a very nice pattern. But knight here. So knight here doesn't control this square here. So it doesn't but it controls the square you actually need, which is over here. And I guess that's part of a more general principle, that if you have your knight and queen on the same color, or bishop and knight on the same color, the knight will cover the dark squares, and the bishop or queen will cover the light squares. So that's something also just to keep in mind. So, yeah. Good game. Yeah, cool. And so thanks everyone for watching. Hopefully we've learned something from IJH and from TheFinnisher. And thanks Antic and Kyle Legion for joining in on the stream.
Of course, OK ends it as soon as I join.
Oh, hi there, Mark.
Well, I can't swear. It's OK stream. I was about to say
okay. We're going to continue the stream. We're going to watch 12. We're going to watch 12 team play. No, he's not playing Crazyhouse. Darn.
You guys, I have a mating test you with.
Please.
Mating puzzle? I'm gonna fail it. I know it already.
Oh yeah, Kyle and I suck at mating.
So where are you gonna post it?
This is Yasa.
Where?
Wait, so. Oh, okay, let me invite you.
I invite you right now.
Too.
I'm not on my account though. That's the problem.
Was this just for me,
shit,
Antic?
yeah.
I feel so special. I don't think I'm gonna solve it though.
Okay, cool. Make sure engine's off. Good, it's off. Okay,
I'll
so
invite Mark too.
so is it white to play?
Fine.
Isn't it just a mate and 2, bishop takes pawn and then rook? Oh wait, you can run your king up.
For move 28, right?
Got it. Okay.
Without using engine.
Yep. There's no engine
Get on the
available.
board.
There's no engine available. Yeah. Okay. So what I noticed about this
Yeah. And
position.
don't even take it on the board.
Why can't you just do bishop takes pawn? Just take more. I would do bishop takes pawn.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, but just look at the position for a second. So notice how so the king can't run back. So I'm just marking. So the king's got these potential squares. Obviously, the pawn is covering that square for the moment. It can't run back.
Okay, so after bishop takes e5, king g5.
Yeah, so king
Probably
d5
look at,
is
go here. And he escapes and resign.
but what about
Sounds like a game over.
right, but there's also so bishop takes e5 is one possibility, and there's also d takes e5 with the advantage. Then you could castle and bring the rook in.
Yeah, he's got too much room on the queen side.
That's true, and he could also block. Okay, so we'll assume bishop takes e5, but then he runs forwards.
I mean, your games kind of gives the answer, no?
Luck, man.
I'm not looking
Yeah,
at
but you're not.
How could you not look?
You're not supposed to. You're not supposed
Literally
to look.
right
I know, but we're not looking.
Okay, well, I'm very. Okay, I'm not going to say anything.
Taking you from the study.
Rip. Well, it was nice being part of the study. I'm now a spectator. Answer.
Yeah, well.
You can't
Okay,
believe
but
me as we were friends. We met up in person,
Oh,
and then you do this to me.
Oh, I have an idea.
Kick you from the study.
So
okay, go.
bishop takes e5,
takes. What I
Okay,
wanna
let's just
do.
say bishop e5.
Yeah, bishop takes.
king d5. Okay, pawn at
King-
e4.
Yeah, maybe pawn at e4.
And the point is, if the bishop takes the pawn, then rook here is checkmate.
Yes, then you have mate, but then king.
So king.
King takes.
Okay, what else? King could also run here, but then rook
That's
here is
mate
checkmate.
one.
Exactly. So it's also mate. So and king could
That's
run here,
mate.
but rook here is again checkmate. Okay. So king takes pawn is necessary. And then
Pawn
I'm
at.
thinking.
Well, no.
What about? I was thinking rook, but
It's up, but
F4, I
not
go back to
leaving.
5.
Yeah.
so for rook, he goes back here.
And what? Black safe.
Oh.
Oh. Maybe bishop.
Pawn at g3, but I mean.
D3, king.
5, I guess.
No,
Yeah, but then rook f4, you definitely have mate.
Yeah, how about look at and then h4? f4. If king of f5.
So what about bishop g6? He takes. Then f3 he takes. And then rook at f5. And he runs forwards. And then pawn here is checkmate. And if he runs back, then
he
knight
can go back to d5.
Knight f7 is check. Oh, it's not. What? Knights don't move like
Not
that.
willing to accept.
Knights don't move like that. Okay.
Antic is not.
Okay, sorry.
What?
Only what Antic did is right.
So what's your line?
No. I got my knights moving the right. I had this sort of image in my head of knights
It's
controlling this square. So
Okay. You give up way too many pieces.
yeah, I'm not doing that. Sorry.
okay. Okay, so Kyle, what were you saying?
This, and like if this, here,
That's very nice.
that's what I was thinking. But he has other stuff. Like if he goes here, I can just meet him.
Yes, that's it. So he has to go back.
I don't really know anything else. So if he goes back, it's obvious. But
Oh,
that's it.
yeah, that's it.
No, really, I was just out of my self-respect. Seconds on pawn at e4, and I calculated the whole thing, which I don't normally do, and I was just proud of myself for that.
Yes,
Nice.
one. So you want to win a game.
That
He's really good.
that's why
So
I
was that.
actually calculated.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
Congratulations.
that's how the game ended.